Nam mô Bổn Sư Thích Ca Mâu Ni Phật. Nam mô Bổn Sư Thích Ca Mâu Ni Phật. Nam mô Bổn Sư Thích Ca Mâu Ni Phật. Once there was a village with the forest. There were deers living in the forest. They they would cross often into the village. The farmers knew and set traps and waited for the deer when they get near the crops. One day there was young beautiful doe in the forest. The There was also a young buck who wandered into the lower parts of the forest. The the buck saw the beautiful young doe and fell in love with her. He All day he would think about her. After a couple of days, he came to introduce himself to her. As he entered the as he came to her, he tripped on a twig and he fell in a pile of mud. The young doe started laughing but thought he was rather silly. The fairies thought that the young doe was endangered. the the young doe was going into the village for food, and the young buck kept on following her and praising her. The At nighttime, the young doe knew it was dangerous for the young buck to be there. The young doe suggested that the young buck should go back and not go with her. But the young buck did not listen from the warning. The fairies applauded, but then didn't because they realized the danger. The young doe said, "If you don't listen to me, then at least be quiet." After the young buck finished, he finally was able to be quiet. After going for a while, the young doe knew there was a man in the bush waiting for them. The young doe wanted to save herself, so she let the young buck go first. As the hunter saw a young buck and shot it, and it died instantly. The young doe ran off back into the forest as fast as she could. The the hunter then took the young buck and skinned him and ate him and took the rest back home for his family. The the fairies started becoming terrified and blamed the young doe for the buck's death. But one wise fairy said that it was the buck's infatuation that led to this disaster. Summary of the story is that there once was a young doe and a young buck in the village. He fell in love with the young doe. The the fairy thought that it was a warning that the young buck would be in danger. The young doe insisted that the young buck should not go with her, but he didn't listen. So she told him to be quiet, and he listened. But she soon realized that at night there was a hunter in the bush waiting for them. So, in order to save her life, she let the young buck go first. The hunter shot it and killed it instantly. After the young doe saw that, she ran off immediately back into the forest. The hunter skinned and ate young the young buck. The fairies thought that it was the young doe's fault for the death of the young buck. But the wise fairy said that it was the infiltration that led to his death. And the moral of the story is that infiltration leads to disaster. The An example of this is that if you were foolish and did something that wasn't right, it could lead to disasters like getting harmed or into trouble. And another example is that one time me and my friends were at a party and I thought it was fun if we would slide down the stairs, and which the idea was very foolish, but I thought it was funny, so I did it, and I ended up getting in danger and hurting my hand. And so I realized that like foolishness could lead you into danger, and that you shouldn't be foolish because it could lead to very dangerous things. Nam mô Bổn Sư Thích Ca Mâu Ni Phật. Nam mô Bổn Sư Thích Ca Mâu Ni Phật. Nam mô Bổn Sư Thích Ca Mâu Ni Phật.
Beauty and Gray. There were two deer that were in a small forest. One was called Beauty, one was called Gray. The leader said that he was getting old, so he had to give all the work to Beauty and Gray. There were 1,000 people, 10,000 deer in the forest. So then they split it in half, and Beauty had 500 and Gray had 500. So then the leaders told them to be careful while hunting, because in India they have like a harvest season and they had to be very careful because they hunted deer for eating and they sell the deer. So then when they put rice in the road, they dig a hole and make a pit so the deer can go in the trap, and they will shoot the deer and then they will die so they can sell it. So then after the teaching, the two deer went off to hunt for rice. So Beauty followed the advice, and none of his followers were killed or harmed. So then it was Gray's turn. Gray did not pay attention to the advice, and he just had a greedy heart and went to eat all the rice while not caring about his followers. So then some followers got killed and were sent to the butcher's shop in India to sell. And then the person who had get the money, because some people had like very greed for money. So then they went off again to see who was more wise and intelligent. So then Billy also followed the advice and still had 500 deer, and Gray still did not follow the advice. His followers were all killed except him. So then when they got home, the leader said that Beauty was wise because he followed all the instructions and advice. So he still had 500 followers. But Gray, on the other hand, he did not he did not follow any of the advice, so he was the only one left in his group. So the summary of the story is that like there was like two deer that were growing up, and then their leader said that he was going old, and then he gave all the watching work to Beauty and Gray, and they both split it in half, and Beauty got 500 and Gray had 500. So then when they won, Beauty paid attention to the advice and Gray did not. So then Beauty still had 500 followers and Gray did not have 500 followers. He lost 5 or 10. So then they went up again. Beauty didn't lose any. He still followed the advice and did not lose any. So then like Gray, he was greedy again, so he got captured. His followers did not get captured, so then he only returned. His followers only got caught except him. So when he returned home all by himself, the leader said that Beauty was wiser because he followed all the advice 2 times without taking a little break, like having like to not follow any of the instructions. So he was the wisest and ruled the forest and lived very long. But on the other hand, Gray, he only had 500 followers and lost all of them 2 times. So then he was not wise. So the moral of the story is that wise people take care of the followers first. One example I had experienced is like when I had this weird dream, and then in the dream people called me wise, but I told them that I needed a test to prove it. So then they gave me a few followers, and then I had to start at the mountains and go back to the city. So then when I went back, some people went out the lane, so I told them to go back or else they will get hit. So then at the end, I didn't really remember about the test. So they just said that I passed the test and I was wise. So another example that I read was like about two people that were salesmen. One salesman wanted to go to the desert and sell all his goods, but he reached a place called Waterless Desert. But he saw like a group of demons. They were in disguise, so he didn't know that because he was not wise. So he went there and asked the people if there was any water they could spare. But then the fake demons, gushed that there was like a big lake in a mile. So then they should pour out all the dirty water so they could have fresh water to drink. So then they poured out the water, and then at night they were weak because they didn't drink water. So then the demons quickly gobbled them up. On the second merchant, he also came to the waterless desert, and then he said the demons also tricked him. but he did not listen. He said that, do you hear any storm clouds? Do you hear about water in a place called Waterless Desert? They all said no, and they did not dump all the water. So they did not get fooled by the demons. So then he was called, the second merchant was called Wise. Nam mô Bổn Sư Thích Ca Mâu Ni Phật. Nam mô Bổn Sư Thích Ca Mâu Ni Phật. Nam mô Bổn Sư Thích Ca Mâu Ni Phật.